get my whip upgrades. People are probably gonna think I'm freaking a nutcase for doing this stuff. But anyways, what's up, guys? This is my experience with Castlevania the Adventure, or the Castlevania Adventure. I don't know how they want to call it. Like, the title screen, the title of this game, I never really understood the name of it, to be honest with you. But anyways, so what is this game? What is Castlevania the Adventure? Anyways, so Castlevania the Adventure for the Game Boy, right? So I remember when I picked this game up for the first time, when I bought the Castlevania collection on my Nintendo Switch, I fell in love with it so much. Matter of fact, I hope my Switch is off. I don't, nope, my Switch has been running the whole time. Fuck. But, anyways. So, I got the Castlevania collection because I was very curious in the game. I was very curious. You guys obviously know how much I love Castlevania because of Castlevania. Not so much Castlevania 2. Castlevania 3, I love that game. And you guys know how I feel about Castlevania 4, right? Some of the most goated games. Oh, and then the Game Boy game that I did play, the Castlevania Legends Game Boy game. I thought that one was okay, even though it just felt like Castlevania, but Ninja Gaiden. But anyways, so this game obviously came up before Castlevania Legends, but anyways, what are my honest thoughts on this game? Well, one, Castlevania, The Adventure is only 4 levels long. That is ludicrous to me. 4 levels long. A video game that's only 4 levels long, but it makes sense because once you see the length of each of these levels in Castlevania, The Adventure, you'll get why, like, okay, I can understand / see why this is only 4 levels in the entire game. I got it. Let's go. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go party. Disco party, right? So I got into the game after knowing that there was only 4 levels in the game, and I sat there for a little bit trying to understand how to play the game. For some reason, Castlevania, The Adventure, runs off of a freaking time limit. Julio, how you doing? What's going on, right? So not only there's a time limit on the top of my head, right? And Castlevania games, yes, they do have timers, right? In the other games, in Castlevania 1, and Castlevania 3, and Castlevania 4, they all have timers, right? But they never really had a timer directly above your head that just gives you 12 minutes to complete a stage. So that's already number one I'm feeling a little bit awkward about when I first get into Castlevania Adventure just to play it, right? Another thing that I felt when playing, obviously the music in Castlevania The Adventure is obviously Game Boy levels of music, so it's not really super advanced. It always sounds like do 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 do. Think of Metroid 2's music. Similar to that on the Game Boy, but like a little bit better. You know, it's the music, the theme is a little jammable. You know, you sit there ding 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 ding, like you bob your head a little bit. That's pretty much the music in this game, right? But there's not really much music. I think there's like 2, 3, maybe 4, 5 tracks in the whole game. Not a whole lot considering what game you go through. There's a bunch of stuff you go through when you play this game. For example, you go through like multiple different types of rooms. And for some reason, this Castlevania game, out of all Castlevania games, there's no staircases, thank the fuck God. There's no staircase you have to climb up, but instead they replace it with ropes that you have to climb to progress. For some reason, this game loves ropes so much to the point where there's ropes at the end of every damn room almost to make progression in each of the stages for some reason. And I remember I was always sitting there kind of questioning the idea of ropes. I'm like, yo, I get Castlevania's fascination with stairs, but the mere fact that they wanted to change that for this game for stairs to ropes never really clicked with me all that much. And another thing about this game that I liked, or actually I did not like, is when you get the upgrades for your whip, right? When you get the upgrades for your whip, do not get hit a single time. I remember I was playing this game like a day before I had not a day before well, actually I think it was a day before my revolution, right? or the night as I did the little revolution and realized a lot of things and turned my life around, right? If you get hit in this game, your upgraded whip that allows you to extend your whip or even like whip out a little fireball, yeah, you immediately go back to the base one, which only has this amount of range. Baby range. See, whenever you get your whip upgraded, you have range like of a full-size whip where it can whip like that far, right? Really far, all right? But also allow you to hit other enemies with the fireball that spews out of the whip weapon, right? Yeah, you get hit once in this game, dude. That weapon is entirely gone, and you have to regrind for range in your weapon. And let me tell you, that shit during some boss fights actually quite annoyed me. To the point I was sitting there when playing Castlevania, the adventure, I was getting so frustrated over the one-hit thing. And also another thing I really disliked about Castlevania the Adventure, enemy placement. For example, I'm climbing on one of the ropes. That's the only way, and there's no fast climbing, nothing. So the default ropes climbing speed is the speed you go up ropes. Sometimes enemies would completely drop on me while I'm trying to climb the ropes, and I lose so much HP, and I lose my whip upgrade that I spent so long in the level going for. And by the way, these levels are long as shit. They go for like 5 minutes sometimes, 6 minutes, and again, keep this in mind, you have a 12-minute timer. So, you have a 12-minute timer up there. So, and these stages go on for 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. That means you can barely make mistakes whenever you play the game, which is why I highly recommend you get the Castlevania collection, where you at least have some type of save state or whatever, so you can sit there and endure the game a lot more than like playing it on original hardware and stuff. Definitely recommend it that way instead of original hardware. But I remember I just kept powering through the game because I was like, this is a short Castlevania game. Despite all of its problems, right? I still somewhat enjoyed this Castlevania experience because it, obviously it's Castlevania, so I'm going to enjoy it for the most part, unless you're Castlevania 2. Yeah, Castlevania 2. I'm looking at you. I know there's no edit or no picture of that, but just picture Castlevania 2, where you're Simon and you're running around looking like a goofball, kind of on some Zelda 2 shit. No, thank you. I did not sign up for Zelda 2. I signed up for Castlevania. And Castlevania 2 did not give me the Castlevania vibe. But anyways, as I was saying about Castlevania the Adventure, yeah, it just felt like a game that was short, but that final boss with Dracula and stuff, it was pretty difficult because of my low HP and my whip range wasn't all that good going into that, which is why I definitely recommend, if you guys are planning on playing Castlevania the Adventure, try your best every single time not to get hit. Please, for the love of God, because if you get hit, again, like I said, you lose all of your upgrades, and you're sitting there with the crappy whip that only goes a little bit further than your hand, and it's just never good. It's never a good feeling. And again, bosses in this game are really simple, simplistic. I don't even want to show you like the bosses because in design they're pretty dang simple. They're not like super difficult to figure out, but they can be annoying, especially flying bird enemies and basically, like I mentioned before, and some enemies, not boss enemies, but other enemies can be more annoying than the actual bosses themselves for me when playing Castlevania the Adventure. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I actually did beat it that night, just a little bit later. And I felt good about it, beating like another Castlevania game, because usually when I beat Castlevania games, bros, I get so happy because I'm like, Castlevania is one of the toughest franchises I get into. And now, thank you to the save state system and stuff, I'm able to beat these games without spending like a million years on each and every single entry. And I think that's a good fucking thing right there. That is a phenomenal thing we got going on. And yeah, this game is so short. I don't even know what else to talk about, to be honest. I think I'm just going to end the review, but that's my honest feelings on Castlevania the Adventure. It's nowhere near the best Castlevania game. I think I might put it down where Castlevania Legends is at. Because it's a Castlevania game I do not plan to go back to in the future. At least with Castlevania 4 and Castlevania 3 and Castlevania 1, I might consider going back to. But like Castlevania Legends and Castlevania, The Adventure of these two games, just okay at best, people. I would definitely recommend other Castlevania games before you get into this one, unless you really love Game Boy games and you want to like give this one a try. I definitely wouldn't pick this up if you're trying to get into the series casually and stuff. I definitely recommend other Castlevania games before this one. But anyways, that's Castlevania the Adventure. It's okay. A very okay Game Boy game. Not the best, but not the worst either. But it's definitely one of the worst if I had to pick Castlevania, 2D Castlevania games to actually like play. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, favorite, share with your friends. I'm out of here. Peace.